But now's the time of the show, Joe. We like to reach out to the public on our Fade the Public poll. I want to go back to late March and early April. I want to see the people that goes, you know what? The Brewers are my team this year. And I'm going to guarantee midway through August, they're going to have the best record in Major League Baseball because that's how the feeling is going towards the Brewers this year. But we reached out to the people, Joe, in our Fade the Public poll. Easy to do. Just go over to X, follow at SportsGrid. The question was asked this morning. How far will the Milwaukee Brewers go this season? 4 options we gave you. The NLDS, which is the Divisional Series, the NLCS, which is the National League Championship Series, to be the NL Champions, which means you made it to the World Series, and then you are actually World Series champions. We have a pretty tight race here between the NLDS and the NLCS. For me, Joe, I actually am not fading the public. I'm going with the public. There's no reason to believe that we can't, talking about the Brewers, get them to an NLCS here legitimately. 39% of the vote coming in that way. I voted that way, Joe. Which way did you vote?
Can you get a couple of more bars of "Ain't No Stopping Us Now," Donnie? Because it feels
Ain't
like that's
no
what.
Stopping us now.
That's there.
We're
you
on
go.
the move. See, I was going to do background.
There
for
it is.
There you go.
Outstanding. Sure. And that should be the theme song for the Milwaukee Brewers at this particular point. I'm going to take it a step further. I'm going to fade the public because I believe they've already proven that the Dodgers can be handled. And they're one of the few teams that I would trust when push comes to shove in the National League Pennant Championship that, you know what, if it comes down to them in a best 4 out of 7, I'm picking the Brewers, Donnie. I'm sorry. And you've got to give them the edge here. And I think the possibility is absolutely a National League pennant. I bet it. I've got it. I think they're the only team outside of the Dodgers that has a chance of winning it. Sorry about your Phillies, but I'm not stepping in front of they have that mojo going right now. We've seen teams in years past, Donnie, put it together like this team is doing, including your Phillies, by the way, and ride it right through to a World Series appearance. I think they can do that here.
You just don't want that, hey, we played really good baseball for 3/4 of the season and sort of struggled in the month of September. Now, we're not saying that the Brewers are ending up doing that. They are winning every single way you can. Great offense, not so much offense. Great pitching, average pitching. Bullpen messes up a little bit. No big deal. We got you covered. Comeback victories left and right. They're getting everything lined up here and sort of trying to run away with that Central. Like talking about like, oh, we wanted them early in March. Like, did Grok predict this? Like, hey, by August 12th, they're going to be in first place in Major League Baseball with the most wins here. Because if you see a graphic we're about to pop up, there wasn't a lot of love. Win total 82.5. That's a solid baseball club. That's not a championship club. It's now updated to 98.5 wins, which means theoretically, legitimate chance that the Brewers get to 100 wins on the season. Best record in baseball was an 80-1 price. They have the best record right now. And to have it for the rest of the season, it's a -110 price. The NL Central, which was a dog price at +270, is now a heavy favorite at -500. And look at the World Series price, 50-1, which basically means good luck on that. 10-1, which you know what that means? A realistic chance to get it done. The odds moving in the Brewers' direction, Joe. Looking at some of those odds, any takers on those price points?
Yeah, and don't forget, Donnie, it wasn't as if they were those numbers show us. They weren't the preseason favorites, and they weren't even in first place in the first quarter of this season here. It was all about the Cubs and how good the Cubs were, and all of a sudden the Cardinals now, well, we thought they were going to be terrible, but the Cardinals were winning all sorts of games. But eventually what happened, once we hit July, end of June and July, is the Brewers started to figure some things out. They brought up Mizorowski. The bullpen quietly became one of the best in Major League Baseball when it came to locking teams down. Listen, a bunch of really good players that are playing great baseball together. That is how you win World Series championships. Not a lot of overpriced guys or hype or name guys, but what you have is guys playing great baseball together. I think the sky's the limit. Would not shock me if the Brewers are representing the National League in the World Series.
And get a pretty good price point on them right now. Best record in baseball, 5-1. Not to win a World Series, Joe. 5-1 right now at a lot of outlets here to win the National League. Now, if we look at the Dodgers, always going to be those favorites here. I think the Dodgers can actually be eliminated from the playoffs itself and still be the plus 160 favorite to win the National League the way it's going with their price points. The Philadelphia Phillies at 330 price. The Brewers 5-1. I'm telling you, those Padres at a 7-1 price, seemingly getting shorter and shorter every day. The Cubbies at 9-1, and the Mets out here looking to buy low at a 10-1 price if you like that angle. But the Dodgers are the heavy favorites. But now we're starting to get some doubt in there. Like the Phillies are playing really good baseball. The Padres made a lot of moves, playing better baseball. The hottest team in baseball, the Milwaukee Brewers. There's now a lot of pressure, Joe, on the Dodgers to get this done where they're still being priced as we have a 10-game lead when they got like a 2-game lead.
Yeah, and my question is, Donnie, so how is the seeding going to work here? So who's going to have the best record in the National League when it's all said and done? Is that going to be Milwaukee? Do we think the Dodgers are? I mean, if Milwaukee is the top seed here, they're always going to have maybe the more favorable path in order to get there against some wild card teams, no?
Yeah, no, you're right about that because you're looking, usually the path is, and you equate it to the NFL, right? Home field advantage is everything. Rest is advantage is everything. It's a little bit different though. Like rest is great in the NFL. Rest doesn't seem like it's great in the early parts of October as you wait for that wild card round to finish up for you. But again, if you ask any organization, general manager, fan base, what would you rather take? Wild card or win the division? Only idiots would say wild card because you can't, if you don't play in the wild card, you can't lose in the wild card. That's the important part about it. But now you look at the Phillies, 6-game lead over the Mets. You look at the Brewers, 6.5-game lead over the Chicago Cubs. And then the Dodgers, like if there was any division that you felt like there might be a runaway at the beginning of the season, like, man, the Dodgers just built for absolute mayhem and terror this year against other organizations. They're down to a 1-game lead. Why? You lose 2 in a row, and the Padres win 3 in a row. They're right on your heels. But I didn't think the Brewers would have a 6.5-game lead in August. I thought the Phillies and Mets would go back and forth. The only back and forth now is the Phillies winning every day and the Mets losing every single day as they'll take it today. But I'm interested. The National League wide open when probably nobody thought it was open at all to start the season.
And the wild card teams in the National League, you're going to have, it's either the Padres or the Dodgers, right? You're going to have the Cubs or let's say Cincinnati. You're going to have it is a loaded side of the equation here in the National League where it could still be anybody's game.
It's anybody's game, and maybe it's not anybody's game when Pittsburgh is going to match up with Milwaukee again today. Do we go to 20 wins now for the Brewers? Find out next. Let's get the handicapping hats on. Right back at it here on the early line. Time to break down some Major League Baseball. Full card today on a Tuesday. We absolutely love to see that. You know, we're going to start with the hottest team, Joe Ranieri, in Major League Baseball. That's the Milwaukee Brewers. They're taking on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And if you saw yesterday, an easy victory, 7-1, you might think that's going to happen today. But if you want to continue that win streak and you want to be on your way to 20-plus wins in a row, which would be unbelievable if the Brewers can actually pull that off, you first got to take down Paul Skeens and the Pittsburgh Pirates today. 9:05, 9:06 on the rotation, a 7:40 start tonight. Skeens and Peralta favorite here towards Milwaukee, but not that much. Minus 120s, minus 122s overnight. Now sit at minus 126s, as high as a minus 131 here listed at DraftKings. A total 6.5s starting to creep in as you see that graphic at 7. We're not going to get a lot of scoring anticipated in this game because Paul Skeens, best pitcher on the card. Did you know, Joe? His last 45 days, 42 innings pitched, a 2.14 ERA and a 2.74 xFIP number. You got your work cut out for you tonight, Brewers. Is it enough to push them to another victory?
Well, it could very well, because at some point we all know that Pittsburgh bullpen is going to have to get involved. But instead, I am willing to bet that Skeens outduels Freddie Peralta in the first 5. And I'd be willing to back Pittsburgh and lay a small number, minus 115, maybe somewhere in that ballpark there. And I think that Pittsburgh has a better shot. And by the way, Pittsburgh, since the All-Star break, has hit much, much better than people realize. Wasn't a great night last night, but this is a team that can now all of a sudden hit the long ball. And Freddie Peralta has struggled a little bit. He's solid, but he's not Paul Skeens. He's not shut down. So I think Pittsburgh has a pretty good opportunity to have the lead heading into the second half of this game, the 6th inning. because I don't trust the bullpen of Pittsburgh at all once they get involved. But I do think they can have the lead early on in this one heading into the sixth.
Yeah, try to capitalize there because Skeens, again, last 30 days of Major League Baseball, 92 hitters faced, a walk rate of under 5%, a K rate of 34%, which jumps to 40%. The left-handed batters, low ISO, low weighted on base percentage. Good luck getting after Paul Skeens. But also, like sometimes you don't talk about Freddie Peralta being that good pitcher for Milwaukee. Last 30 days has struggled a little bit with left-handed batters, but you know what's good for that tonight? Pittsburgh doesn't have very many left-handed batters. Estimated in the lineup, Reynolds, Cruz, and that's it. Two lefties, and he excels against righties. Yesterday, 1 run for the Pittsburgh Pirates. Maybe tonight, another 1 run for the Pittsburgh Pirates. We'll see how it plays out here. Let's roll over to Ohio, and that's Cincinnati, and it's Philadelphia. Ranger Suarez, the lefty on the mound today, going up against Brady Singer, the right-handed pitcher for the Reds. 901, 902 on the rotation, a 640 start. How about a total that's listed at 9, but a favorite for the Phillies? Phillies were the dogs yesterday out there in Cincinnati. Now the favorites at minus 155 and higher, depending on where you're shopping at. Runs could be expected here. Ranger Suarez, another great Phillies pitcher. Phillies on a run right now. Started this road trip 4-0. 3 wins in Texas, 1 for Cincinnati. What gives tonight for the Reds?
Well, you know, the Reds here, they're in PNC Park, right? They're scoring all of these runs. They're hitting the, that was Sunday. And what did they follow up that offensive explosion with? The usual. They can barely score a run in that game last night. But I got to tell you, if you want to know the state of Cincinnati's bullpen, then look at what happened in that game last night where Abbott had to go out into the 8th inning, Donnie, because their bullpen is trash. This was a great pitcher's battle and a great game until, of course, with 2 outs in the 8th inning, they had to roll Abbott back out there, and that's where the wheels fell off a little bit here. But you just can't trust Cincinnati to do enough on a consistent basis offensively, especially against – they couldn't do it last night against Miguel. What are you going to do against Ranger Suarez here? I think if it ain't broke, don't fix it. This is the time that you back Philadelphia as they are clearly motivated to get this thing into another gear.
Yeah, another Schwarber yesterday, and also Brady Singer's last 30 days has struggled with left-handed batters. Lefties in the lineup tonight, as you anticipate? Yep, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh, who's having a really good season against right-handed pitching, Max Kepler, and also Bryson Stott. So maybe more hitting on the way for the Phillies. And you're right about this. You take a look at the Reds yesterday, and again, I played an alt-team total in a parlay with the Reds at 2.5. Like, I understand Taijuan Walker had a decent start his last time out, but theoretically on the season, Joe, he's really struggled on the road. He struggled in that first inning. The Reds only got to him 1 time in the first. Like, okay, that's 1 run. They didn't score the rest of the game. Like, you're not going to win games scoring 1 run. You get that 1 run in the first, that's great. You better start tacking on. They weren't able to do that later in the game. Schwarber home run. And you're right, though. Starting pitcher goes late into that game. 2 outs, nobody on in the 8th inning. That ends up in a loss. That's pretty incredible the way it actually played out here. But the Phillies looking for a win to stay ahead of who? Oh, those New York Mets here. They're going to take on the Atlanta Braves. And if we would have looked, Joe, beginning of the season, let's look at some key series here throughout the summer. Oh, look at that. Midway through the month of August. This could be a battle for first place or a playoff spot. Atlanta and New York. Well, at least the Mets are fighting for a playoff spot, not the Atlanta Braves. Spencer Strider's on the mound going up against Clay Holmes, 903, 904 on the rotation. 7-10 start tonight. Favorite, the New York Mets, about a minus 135 to minus 145 price, depending on where you're shopping at now. A total that's listed at 8. Streaking, we talked about the Brewers, streaking in the opposite direction, the New York Mets. Clay Holmes, I know you bring up a lot, Joe. This guy's not supposed to have this many innings under his belt at this point in the season. Leaking oil New York Mets and the favorites. Are you trusting them tonight?
Listen, it would only be the Mets for me. I mean, Strider is clearly, to me, running out of gas, and you can see that in his last couple of starts there. Donnie, and, that whole motocross, motor speedway at Bristol, that the rain out kind of messed up his schedule at that point. But I think they were happy, quite honestly, because this is a rough go and a rough season for the Braves here. I think Strider's a bet on come next year. I don't necessarily trust him here on the road. I don't trust this Atlanta lineup. I think the Mets, who showed some life against the Brewers offensively, they're a better home team. If they're going to win, this is the game they need to win here tonight for sure.
Yeah, take a look at some of those advanced statistics here that we get tonight. Clay Holmes, 17th out of 26 pitchers on the card, a 441 xFIP number. And then if we
Right.
try to find here and go up, Spencer Strider's up in the top 10. He's got a 4.17 ERA, but he does have a lower 3.66 ERA. Tough to trust both of these teams at this time because Atlanta's dead in the water. The Mets aren't playing great baseball, but there is 80-degree temperatures in Queens today with the wind blowing out to left center field at 9 miles per hour. Maybe that propels some of those baseballs to get into the seats today, but the Mets need to win at all costs. You can't lose today, Mets, and have the Phillies win yet another game and still try to hang around. Cubbies, Blue Jays up next. Joe Ranieri down here right side breaking down Major League Baseball. And let's go to Toronto up in the 6th here. You got one team, the Toronto Blue Jays, in first place, cruising. Let's go. Let's extend this lead. And then you have the Chicago Cubs going like, what happened here? We were in first place. Now find themselves 6.5 games back. By the way, talking about football season, Joe, -6.5. Don't let that get to 7. That's a key number, Cubs. Don't let it get there at this point. Well, Brown's going to be on mound taking on Jose Barrios today. 923, 924 in the rotation. A 7:07 start. Slight favorite towards Toronto at home. -125s overnight. Now we're seeing -120s in the sports landscape, depending on where you're betting at. 9s as a total here. Brown, Barrios, Toronto, Chicago, Joe. Come on, bring that heat.
Yeah, and listen, I mean, they were managed to avoid the sweep there over the weekend against the Dodgers, Toronto. Now they get to come home. They've had a day off. I believe the roof likely open here today. Temperatures in the mid-80s. That ballpark, obviously, for the Toronto Blue Jays has been what they had hoped when they did the renovations, right? A place for them to actually elevate that offense, and they've done an amazing job this year. The Cubs, as good as the offensive numbers are, they are heavily weighted from what they did prior to July. Because as of the last month, this team can't hit water if they fell out of a boat here, Donnie. Outside of their last game, that is it. Now, Barrios, can't trust him on the road, but he has been very, very, he's been good at home, certainly serviceable. I think the bats come alive here for the Blue Jays against Brown. I don't like the back end of that bullpen for the Cubs. I like the bullpen for Toronto. At this price, I like Toronto to get back on track here in their own home park there and handle business against the Cubs.
Yeah, what happened here? By the way, Jose Barrios will give you a quality start, but he's no longer that shutdown pitcher. You take a look at his last 6 or so starts. 3 innings pitched against the A's, 4 earned runs given up. Against the Giants, 5 2/3, 4 earned runs given up here. At Detroit, 6 innings pitched, 2 earned runs, which you'll take that each and every time out. Then it goes back to 4 1/3 innings pitched, 5 runs, only 2 earned. And his last start at Colorado, which is still at Colorado, 5 1/3 innings pitched, 4 runs, 3 earned there. So we'll see if he can bounce back. But you're right about one thing, Joe. When you look at the Chicago Cubs, before it was all green lights, as we like to say, hey, Pete Crow Armstrong might be able to be the MVP. Stop it. His last 54 at-bats, a 278 weighted on base percentage against right-handed pitching. That lineup doesn't look great. Even if Barrios doesn't look great, maybe that can certainly creep into it at this point. But both of these teams certainly want wins, but needing wins, that's certainly the Chicago Cubs at this time. Let's take a look at Houston and Boston. Key game yesterday. Heavy underdog at home for the Astros. They pick up the victory. Today, not so heavy and roughly a toss-up. Arrigetti's on the mound, but he's the favorite tonight, Joe. -118s, -120s in the marketplace here. Dustin May on the mound here opened up at an 8 total, now sits at an 8.5 at a lot of outlets. So May versus Arrigetti, not two pitchers that seemingly be shut down. Could we get some runs enough to get 9 tonight, Joe?
Yeah, you would think that we might get a little more offense than usual. Yeah. But Arrigetti at least has now an appearance under his belt, and we'll see what he can do with it. I still don't like May in any way, shape, or form here. So I would tend to lead towards Houston here. But more than anything else, Danny, I like the advantage early. I'm going to take the Houston Astros in the first 5. I think they'll do exactly what they did yesterday, play from in front. And Boston, with no Hader now at the back end of that Houston bullpen, Boston still very much alive late in this game.
Justin Timberlake once said here, Joe, it's going to be May. Yeah, he's getting lit up tonight. I don't like Dustin May all that much. I bet against him quite a few times. His last 45 days, Joe, how about only 29 innings pitched, but a 6.21 ERA and a 4.64 xFIP? But you hit the nail on the head sometimes that you take a look because projections are what you want. Hey, look, if things aren't going your way late in that game, if you're down, oh no, here comes that avalanche bullpen, which the Padres have now. Good luck scoring against the Philadelphia Phillies late in games where Duran's coming in the game, and now it also pushes back your better pitchers where now you have a formidable seventh and eighth hole guy. But now you look at Houston where it's like, hey, it's coming down the stretch or 3-3. How many times are you trying to get to extra innings to scrape out a couple innings? Like, wait a second. Haters coming in the bottom of the ninth inning to sort of get you to extra innings. Stop the madness at this point. If that's not there, that's more high leverage situations. If I look at the Houston Astros, Pena, Sanchez, Altuve, Correa, Walker, and Diaz, all high, weighted on base percentages against a guy in May that we thought was going to be a big deal out for the Dodgers. Makes the move now over to Boston. Hasn't worked out all that well. You know what else I just wish for, Joe? Can a prayer be answered? It's 87 degrees in Houston. Is that too hot at night? Like, is that just too hot to open that roof, let that heat and humidity in? What's the deal?
No, that's too hot to they're not going to do that here. But it doesn't mean we ain't getting a ton of runs in this game here, Donnie, one way or the other.
By the way, like Miami, open your roof too here. I mean, Joe, tell you, South Florida's not that hot at this time of the year. You know what's hot right now? Oh, Kevin Walsh. Let's find out what show we host next. Right back at it here. Fun ways to end the early line. I'd like to choose like a hot topic or two, but also come up with a buy that's going to make you some money, which we'll get to in just a few moments. And we're looking for a bounce back today in our buy. Swept the card on Friday. Not so good last night. It's okay. It's Tuesday. Get Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to build up those units here and give the people what they want. Joe, have you ever gotten a speeding ticket in your life? You ever just say, no, I just wasn't paying attention. You didn't have the Cobra radar out there. Did you ever get a speeding ticket?
I have, Donnie, absolutely. Yeah. And I have also talked my way out of a speeding ticket. But I'm assuming there are some infractions you probably can't talk your way out of.
No, you probably can at sometimes. But I've never had a speeding ticket. I had some moving violations in the past. Anybody growing up as a kid, sometimes making a legal left turn, there's a cop there. You didn't know. You get penalized for it. It's just the way it is. Or you got some tinted windows that you're like, come on, man. Roll your windows up. Let me check. Nope, they're not proof right there. So you got to get the ticket. But how about Myles Garrett? 100 in a 60. How come, like, is it just me or is it, again, maybe I'm missing the boat? Like, people get speeding tickets. That's why there's police officers on highways looking to catch you in speed traps. That's what they do. But do athletes go faster than the common person? Or is it just because, dude, I drive a Ferrari. If I touch the gas pedal, it's 88 miles an hour down the road we go.
Listen, there's so many weird things about this. It's just a hot mess there. It's in the same town that Shador got busted going over 100 miles an hour where the camp is, right? So you know the cops in that area are just looking for somebody with the radar gun. And here he comes in his, wait a minute, didn't he just sign a $160 million deal and he's driving a 2014 gray Ferrari? Wait a minute. Whoa, what, like, updated? What are we doing here, Miles? Is that all it can go as a 2014 Ferrari? It's just 100 miles an hour? Is that it, Tommy?
In my Rari, as we like to say, driving down the street. We'll see Myles Garrett going faster. Hopefully he's just as fast there at the defensive end, sacking quarterbacks this year, and the Browns get a pretty good return on that investment. But speed traps, man, you know, there's nothing, like, even when you don't get caught, like anybody's been I-95, whatever major thoroughfare you have, you're going a little bit fast and you see the cop parked on the side of the road and you just look, how long, like at least 30 seconds in the rear view, like, please don't come out. Please don't come out. Please don't come out, right?
What are you doing? I mean, it's this Shador just got unless this is like maybe Myles Garrett's way of saying, I got your back, Shador. I'm going to go out. I'm with you. I'm going to go get the 100-mile-an-hour speeding ticket as well. You and I, that's it. Defense, offense, here we go. The future of the Browns. It's unbelievable.
Hang them up like championship banners in the locker room, but it's time to make some money, people. It's time for buy. You don't even have to stay in the United States to win some money, Joe, apparently, and buy. Where are we going today? International marketplace?
I am, as a matter of fact. I'm going to head to Toronto, where the Blue Jays will be hosting the Cubs here. And listen, I thought the Blue Jays showed a lot of moxie out west there in L.A., where it was a tough series there. They let it get away from them, but they didn't get swept with that 5-4 win on Sunday. And I love this Toronto team at home. I love the bullpen at home. Their starting pitchers are better at home. What's not good right now is the Chicago Cubs offense, who once again just lost on Sunday night to the Cubs 3-2. This offense has disappeared. They're barely a 500 team since the All-Star break, and it has everything to do with the fact that they can't score runs. Now, if you're going to go against Toronto in the Rogers Center, I give the edge offensively to Toronto. They have shown over the last couple of months, this is a hitting machine. They're going up against Brown. It's not an impossible, pitcher to be able to score runs with at home. Even if Toronto does get some runs, I still like Toronto to be able to get it done because I like their bullpen. At minus 120, I'll take the home team here.
As the locals say in Toronto, let's go. See if they can pick up that victory. For me, I'm going to take an under today. I got 2 top 10 pitchers on my ticket. That's Paul Skeens and it's Freddie Peralta. You saw those lines already getting down to 6.5. I grabbed the 7 this morning, which is still available at a lot of outlets today. We're going under 7 runs between Pittsburgh and Milwaukee. It takes 8 to beat me. I don't think we get there. And for some happenstance, if Paul Skeens gives up 4 earned runs and somehow the Pittsburgh Pirates score 3 or 4 runs themselves, I'll live with it at this point. Skeens goes 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run today, and Pittsburgh does its usual 1 or 2 runs. We stay well under that total, Joe Ranieri, and we're looking for a sweep today on buy. Sort of make up for the people on Monday. We got tripped up a bit. That's how we do it here. Another day in the books here on the early line. Fantastic stuff all the way through. For Donnie Wright and Joe Ranieri, we will see you bright and early tomorrow morning for another edition of the early line.